Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of January, and we are here to read our first read aloud of the week. This week's read alouds, we're going to really be focusing on the illustrations and on how the illustrator kind of uses those illustrations to make meaning and to help us understand the text. So our first text this week is called Sam and the Lucky Money. And this is from a different culture, and you'll notice that there's some words in here that might not be familiar to you. Okay, but the most important thing to notice and to really focus on is the illustrations and how those illustrations help you to understand the story and make meaning out of the story. Now, at the end of this, our writing assignment is going to focus in on one of the illustrations from the story, and it's going to ask you a question, and the question is going to involve asking you why the illustrator chose to illustrate the picture in a certain way. All right, so before we get started, remember, as I'm reading, if you need to pause the video and take some think time to answer those Post-it note questions, please do that. Okay, here we go. Sam and the Lucky Money. Our author is Karen Chin, and our illustrator is Cornelius Van Wright and Ying Hua Hu. Sam and the Lucky Money. Okay, so in this story, Sam needs to decide how to spend the lucky money that his grandparents have given him for the Chinese New Year. So we're going to read to find out how Sam wants to spend his money. All right. Sam could hardly wait to get going. He zipped up his jacket and patted his pockets. It was time to go to Chinatown for New Year's Day. Sam thought about sweet oranges and lucky money, which was crisp dollar bills tucked in small red envelopes called leases. Sam's grandparents give him leases every New Year. Each envelope was decorated with a symbol of luck: 2 golden mandarins, a Chinese junk, a slithering dragon, a giant peach. Sam's leases were embossed in gold. Sam counted out $4. Boy, did he feel rich. His parents said he didn't have to buy a notebook or socks as usual. This year, he could spend his lucky money his way. Sam, his mother called. It's time to go shopping. Hurry so we don't miss the lion. Coming, said Sam. Let's look at our first Post-it note here. It says the grandparents' gift is called lucky money. Why do you think it's called lucky money? So Sam is going to Chinatown to celebrate the new year. Okay, again, you want to look closely at the illustration. Pay attention to all the details that the illustrator uses. All right, let me back this up a little bit for you guys so you can see the whole page. All right. The streets hummed with the thump of drums and the clang of cymbals. Everywhere, dusty red smoke hung in the air, left by exploding firecrackers. Give me your hand, said his mother. I don't want you to get lost. Sam took her hand reluctantly. It seemed like everyone was shopping for New Year's meals. There were so many people crowded around the overflowing vegetable bins that Sam had to look out for elbows and shopping bags. Right next to the vegetable stand were 2 huge red paper mounds. Sam kicked the piles with his right foot and then with his left foot until he created a small blizzard. On his third kick, he felt his foot land on something strange. "Ay!" someone cried out in pain. Startled, he looked up to find an old man sitting against the wall. The stranger was rubbing his foot. Bare feet in winter? Sam thought. Where are his shoes? Sam stared at the man's dirty clothes as he backed away. He found his mother picking out oranges, and he tugged on her sleeve, pulling harder than he meant to. So let's look at our question. Why do you think this old man cries out in pain? Why is he screaming in pain? "Hey, I need this arm," she said. "Where have you been? It's time to go." For once, Sam was glad to follow his mother. In the bakery window, Sam eyed a gleaming row of fresh char siu bao, his favorite honey-topped buns. When they opened the door, the smell of sweet egg tarts and coconut pastries erased any thought of the stranger. Sam wondered how many sweets he could buy with $4. "Nay, you mat ye ah?" said a young woman from behind the counter. When Sam gave her a puzzled look, she reappeared the question in English. "What do you want?" Sam was about to ask for buns when he noticed a tray full of New Year's cookies. They were shaped like fish with fat, pleated tails that looked like little toes. He couldn't help but think about the old man again. Sam decided he wasn't hungry after all. Suddenly, he heard a noise from outside that sounded like 1,000 leaves rustling. He ran to the window to see what was happening. Okay? So let's think about what the lady says when Sam gets in there. What language do you think she's speaking? She's definitely not speaking English because he can't understand her. What language do you think she's speaking? Now let's think about it. They're in Chinatown. So what language do you think she's probably speaking? All right, pay very close attention to this illustration because this one is going to come back up in your writing assignment. "Look," he yelled. Bundles of firecrackers were exploding in the street. Rounding the corner was the festival lion, followed by a band of cymbals and drums. Sam pulled his mother outside. The colorful lion wove down the street like a giant centipede. Teased by a clown wearing a round mask, it tossed its head up and down. So again, take a really close look at this illustration. You're going to see it come back up in your writing. It came to a halt in front of a meat market and sniffed a giant Lisi that hung in the doorway, along with a bouquet of lettuce leaves. With loud fanfare, the band urged the lion toward its prize. "Take the food, take the money, bring us good luck for the new year," Sam shouted along with the others. His heart pounded in time with the drum's beat. With a sudden lunge, the lion devoured the Lisi all in an eye blink and continued down the street. The crowd clapped and then quickly dispersed. "That was a hungry lion," Sam's mother joked. Now he felt hungry too and wanted to go back to the bakery. But just then, a large grand opening sign caught Sam's eye. In the window were cars, planes, robots, and stuffed animals. A new toy store? Just the place to spend his lucky money. Sam ran down one aisle, then another. He examined a police car with a wailing siren and flashing lights. He squeezed a talking pig and laughed at its loud oink oink. Then he spotted the basketballs. A new basketball was the perfect way to spend his lucky money. But when he saw the price tag, he got angry. "I only have $4, he shouted. "I can't buy this." In fact, everything he touched cost more than that. "What is $4 good for?" he complained, stamping his feet. His mother scrunched up her eyes the way she always did when she scolded him and guided him out the door. Sam couldn't help it. Even with all the shiny gold on them, the Lisis seemed worthless. Okay, so let's pause here. It says, think about how Sam is acting. What words would you use to describe his behavior? How is he acting by stomping his feet and saying, "This money is worthless"? How do you think he's acting? "Sam, when someone gives you something, you should appreciate it," his mother said as she marched him along. Sam stuffed his Lisis back in his pockets. The sun had disappeared behind some clouds, and he was starting to feel the chill. He dragged his feet along the sidewalk. Suddenly, Sam saw a pair of bare feet and instantly recognized them. They belonged to the old man he had seen earlier. The man also remembered him and smiled. Sam froze in his steps, staring at the man's feet. His mother kept walking. When she turned back to check on Sam, she noticed the old man. "Oh," she said, shifting her shopping bag so she could dig in her purse for some coins. "Sorry, I only have a quarter." The man bowed his head several times in thanks. "He acts like it's $1,000,000, Sam thought, shaking his head. As they started to walk away, Sam looked down at his own feet, warm and dry in his boots. Suddenly, he stopped. "Can I really do anything I want with my lucky money?" he asked. "Yes, of course," his mother answered. So let's pause here for a second. What do you think Sam is going to do with his lucky money? Remember, again, take a really close look at the illustration, okay, including the background. What do you think Sam is thinking? What do you think he's going to do with his lucky money? Sam pulled his laces from his pockets. The golden dragon looked shinier than ever. He ran back and thrust his lucky money into the surprised man's hands. "You can't buy shoes with this," he told the man, "but I know you can buy some socks." The stranger laughed, and so did Sam's mother. Sam walked back to his mother and took her warm hand. She smiled and gave a gentle squeeze. And as they headed home for more New Year's celebration, Sam knew he was the lucky one. So let's think about that last sentence. How was Sam lucky? Did he really get to spend his money on toys or food from the bakery? So he didn't get to spend his money on what he originally wanted, but he still thinks he's the luckiest kid in town. Why do you think he thinks that? And here's the last page. Okay. So during most of the story, Sam was so eager to buy himself something with his lucky money. But what does he end up doing with his money? You should think about that. The whole story, he talks about new toys that he can buy and treats from the bakery, but he doesn't end up spending his money on himself. What does he end up using his money for? I also want you to think Sam is different at the end of the book than he was at the beginning. How does he change during the story? You should go back and listen through different parts of the story and figure out if you can figure out where he changes. See if you can find out where he changes. All right, and that's the end of our read aloud today. Now I'm going to take us over to our writing assignment to show you guys what it's going to be. All right, so here is our writing assignment today. So it says Sam and the Lucky Money. Now, just like always, on the first slide is going to be the video, okay? And on the second slide is your assignment. It says, look at the illustration or the picture. Why do you think the illustrator decided to make the crowd blurry? Okay, so look very closely at the illustration. I'm going to move this over here so that I can zoom in on the illustration for you. Now, remember, as I was reading, I told you this illustration would come back. Let's look at this illustration here. Why do you think the illustrator made the crowd blurry? Okay, so everything else is clear. We see the clear dragon. We see Sam and his mother that are clear, but the whole background of the crowd is blurry. So your job today is to explain why you think the illustrator did that, because the illustrator did it on purpose. Okay? Why would the illustrator make the crowd blurry? And make sure you type your response in this blank box here. You're just going to click and then you will type. Okay? Make sure that your sentences start with a capital letter and end with a punctuation, and try to tell me at least 2 sentences. Try to explain in at least 2 sentences why the illustrator decided to make the crowd blurry. Okay. As always, if you need to go back in the story and listen and look at the other illustrations to figure out why the illustrator does certain things, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you need help, just send me a message or jump on a Google Meet and I would be happy to help you. I'll see you guys on Thursday for our second read aloud. Have a great day.